With colors, you can see that I have some yellow. I do have some green, some blue. I have some brown and yellow, like a darker, like an ochre, yellow ochre. I have some pink, and this is also a darker pink. Okay, if you don't have pink, you can use red. This is your painting. You can make this painting yours. You can make a red flower, you can make a blue flower, whatever you like. But the whole point is how light or how dark should this be? Okay, so we're going to start. Just take your colors and set it across. And then we'll slowly start with the flower. And we're going to start with lighter tones. Okay, because we want to make sure that if you want to add more paint, there is room to add more paint. If you just immediately add a lot of paint, then we cannot take it out. I mean, you can, but the paper gets really, muddy, and then, there's a lot of problems involved in it. So as much as possible, we create habits that, are very smooth and flowing and gives you more confidence. All right, so let's begin with this thing. I'm going to first start, okay, by wetting the small area with clean water. So we're going to do wet on wet. It's just clean water, okay, and then I'm going to take some paint, not a lot and not very thick, and I'm just going to, even this is a lot, it's quite dark. Just gently add some color. Okay. Some areas I'm going to just leave it as white. Okay. And we'll see. Maybe we need color, maybe we don't need it. Then I'm going to go into some more areas and just add some. A little bit of color. Very, very light. Almost like a tea consistency. Okay. I'm going to go above this petal. Now I'm just going to call these sections. Okay. Very light. You can see it's barely there. That color is barely there, but there is some color. And then I'm going to go into this area. Gently just applying clean water and then taking very little paint, almost like a tea consistency, and just giving it some base color. Okay. So we got like a small area with lots of color here. Okay. And this is like a tea consistency. Now, while this is already wet, we're going to take advantage and put in more color. Okay. I don't have a lot of water on this, but I'm going to take a little more color, almost like a coffee consistency. You can see little darker than the tea. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and add some color. Maybe this is too bright. So what we can do is we can add a little bit of blue to it. I'm going to take a little bit of pink, add a little bit of blue. Okay. Then the same way, I'm going to add like a streak here. It's almost like small, tiny stripes that I'm going to make here that are close to each other. As so, you can see. Okay. Just some more darker brush strokes here. Okay. Next, what we can do is we can actually go into these bigger petals, okay, or bigger shapes, and take them one shape at a time. If you see, sometimes, this can be quite mind-boggling, like how do I go through all these petals? So let me show you how we can do. What we can do is either we go one at a time, or we can treat these as, you can club them. Okay, so that will become a little easier to handle them, like maybe this one and these three together. Whatever, how big is your drawing, it depends on that. Okay, so let's see if we can club anything. They're quite big here, so maybe we'll just do one of this because I don't want you to be overwhelmed, like how far I need to stretch my paint. But let's go with this. I'm going to do the same concept. Take some clean water and then stop right here at this petal or this shape. I'm going to take a little bit of that purple that I made, very light. And just cover this. Okay. While that is still wet, I'm going to take the advantage to do wet on wet technique. Or maybe take the other pink. I have two pinks here, so this is also quite bright. And a tiny bit of blue because it's really very, very strong. It can really get into your eyes. Very distracting. So I'm just going to add a teeny bit. Still keep it more pink than purple. And then I'm just going to go here. Stop till on the top. And then make sure that there is some gap with less color, lighter color. Okay, and I'm going to stop here. Next, we can actually try to club this whole shape into one shape. Okay, how are we going to do this? Same thing. I'm going to use a little bit of purple as a background color and then add some more pink on it. Okay, so this is going to be very light. And I'm going to just go in. Wet on dry. I did not wet the paper this time because I want you to see that how we can achieve both the things differently. Just making sure leave some empty spaces here. Okay. Then I'm going to go again in this pink. A tiny bit of blue. And then slowly just follow the shape. Make sure that some areas are a little different. So I'm not going to like completely just block color it like solid, but just keep a little bit of variation. Okay. Then I'm going to let this dry because we have more layers to work on this. Okay. And we'll do this later. Next, I'm going to again work these two together. Okay. And then this whole shape together. I'm going to do the same thing. Actually, I'll do wet on wet this time. I'm going to use some plain water. Make sure leave some empty spaces here where I don't want some color. Usually I would use something called as a masking fluid to mask it so that the color or the paint doesn't go there. But I'm not doing this for this glass because not everybody has masking fluid. So I'm going to just add more paint. Okay. Leave this as it is. You move on to this shape or this shape. But see, now you have clubbed it. We're going to do the same thing. And every time you put pink or purple, just vary it a little bit, right? Some more intense, some dark, some light. Okay. So it'll be a little different. I'm going to wet this area. Same. Add a nice, generous amount of pink. Same thing. We move on to this area. I can make it a little different pink this time. Keeping it a little varied. Same way, I'm going to wet this area. Clean water. Be careful you don't disturb the other areas that are already wet. And if you're not sure, it's best to dry it out completely. Just take your time. Don't worry how this will really come out. Um, you may not like it right now because one, the painting is not even 50% done. And two, also you might compare yourself like how the photograph looks or your own painting skills and your other friends or other artists' painting skills. And that's okay. Um, the whole point is that if this makes you happy, you just do it. Everybody is at a very different level when they're painting. Some are natural, talented, but even with natural talent, you can only get to so much level. If you really want to do better, practice is something that keeps you going. That's where the confidence comes from. I know we always say we don't have time, but if you can pull out just 10 minutes or even 5 minutes every day to paint, I think it'll just make your life so much more better. Took me many years, but I paint daily, no matter what. And it's the only thing I would say I'm looking forward to every day. There's just so much happy energy that comes along when I pick my colors and my brushes. And I just feel that I notice the world so much better in so many ways. My mood is so much better. And um, yeah, it's just very relaxing, very therapeutic, right? So take some time, even if you're just a beginner and if you don't know what to, but just try to paint every day. And if you still find it difficult, join all these library programs, online free workshops, anything that keeps you motivated. Truly makes a difference. All right, we're going to let this all dry. Let's not touch anything. Let them dry, let them all be a little disciplined. So we're just going to discipline them a little bit. And in the meanwhile, we can go ahead and try the other areas, okay? This is a little wet. I don't want to touch anything around it so that the colors don't all mingle with each other. We can come down and do the stem and this cute little bud that's popping out. And in the end, when everything is over, we'll go for the background. Background is very personal. I always say people, you can choose your own background, bring out your personality, bring out your favorite colors. And yes, that's how backgrounds are for me. So how do we do this, the stem? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, I guess, but it's almost like a yellowish, greenish mixture. I'm just going to take some yellow, almost like a coffee consistency. It's tea to coffee, I would say, quite light actually. The lighter, the better. You can always add color. I always tell everyone it's okay to go back and work a little bit extra on it than really struggling and scrubbing your paper away. Okay. I'm going to take some green. Whatever green you have, you don't need to have the perfect green. Okay. Then here you can see there's a nice orange pinkish bud that's going on. So we're going to just take some yellow. Okay. And I'm just going to cover like a semicircle part of it. And while it's wet, take some of that pink or red, whichever you have, and we'll just do a wet on wet. A little more pink on the end. Okay, this part is done. Next, now we can go ahead and work on this small area. Okay, and I think I did this drawing, but I don't think we need it. So I'm just going to erase that part. We'll just do the background because I don't think that's necessary there. I just feel it's a little distracting in the composition. So I'm just going to erase this. Okay, we can go in the middle and you can see there are two yellows here. So I'm going to first go ahead with this yellow, this lighter lemony yellow that we have. And we're going to just add in this here. I'm going to go with this ochre here. And remember, we're going wet on wet here. Okay, so as much as possible, if you can benefit from wet on wet, go ahead. Okay, for that, you just need a little bit of planning. No, that's too light. Maybe I'll add a little bit of brown. I do have brown here, so maybe a little bit of brown. Yeah. And I'm just going to cover almost like 60% of this area and just leave it as it is. Okay. And we let this dry. Next, what we need to do is, now this is not complete. You can see that this looks so flat. It doesn't look real, okay? Because the painting is not complete yet, okay? We need to balance our values. We need the darks so that the lights shine, okay? So these things take time. They come in layers, and that's the whole technique and the speciality of watercolors, that you build in layers. Yes, you need more patience. Yes, you need more planning. But the results, I think no other medium has, is what watercolor has. It just gives you that special quality of layers and the depth that most paintings don't give you, especially acrylic. They can look quite flat. But with watercolor, that transparency, that comes in layers, that comes with patience and planning. So we're going to go ahead and add layers now. They're almost quite wet, quite dry, sorry. Now, and you can see that, I'll just show you my paper, the photograph, and you can see that there's this purple streaks here, okay? And we're going to try to imitate those screens. What we're going to do is we're going to do wet on wet again, and because they're completely dry. If they were still wet, I could take the opportunity and add just color on it, but they're quite dry now. And if I put purple, let me show you what can happen. Let me just show that if I just put some purple here, it's going to give me a very, very hard streak, right? Which I don't want. I want something that blends in very well. So I'm going to wet every area one by one and add some purple. But before that, let's keep our color ready, right? This is going to be almost like a very milk to cream consistency. which means it's going to be darker. Okay. So that's the whole point of keeping in mind, I'm going to be somewhere here. Okay. Somewhere here, not this. This is really dark butter. Okay. So we're going to do something here. And it's okay if you don't know how to measure how much. Just remember, it has to be darker than this pink. All these pinks you have put, it has to be darker. Okay. So I got this purple. Still going to keep it a little pinkish. Not like too blue. That's exactly what I don't want. I'm going to take another brush because I just don't want to wash my brush here. Wet this area gently. I'm clubbing these two, okay? Okay. Letting it dry. It's a little wet. Because see, if I put something now, look what's going to happen. It's going to all bleed in. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for another minute. It's going to start to bloom, which I don't want unless I was creating a background. I don't mind it. But here I'm looking for a little more control streak here. Okay. If you have too much water on your brush, sometimes it happens, right? You load too much. You just dab like this. It soaks in a lot of water. Okay, so I'm going to do this again. Same way I'm going to go here. Okay. Then I'm going to go again here in the other areas, club this wherever I feel I need more purple streaks. Okay, maybe club these two. I can just wet and keep it. And some purple here. You're going to repeat this in this area. My middle layer, this small, is quite wet, so I'm going to be very careful not to wet it. Okay, so we got this. You see, the layers are building and the painting is coming alive. We still have more layers to work on, and I'm going to tell you how. Just want to make sure certain places it's done. Okay, we'll let this dry. I realized something. The pinks really became light. So what I need is I need to add some more pink so that this flower really pops out. But it's quite wet, so we're going to wait. Okay, we just need to wait. In the meanwhile, oh, I think I forgot this here. Yeah. In the meanwhile, we need to think about a background. So what are we going to do with our backgrounds? Background can be plain, background can be left as it is. Maybe you can just leave it white. For this flower, we can give some background, and backgrounds can be either the similar colors or it can be complementary. For something to pop out, complementary is great. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to add, I'm going to make a nice, lovely background, but once the flower is done, because right now it's not ready. We are not ready to go around it because everything is quite wet and it's going to mingle. So we'll just give a minute. I'll give you all a break for 1 to 2 minutes. Let this all dry. We finish the flower and then we get into the background. And again, background is personal. Some people ask me like, should we do the background first or should we do the subject first? It really depends what you want to achieve. Sometimes backgrounds makes most sense to start first, and sometimes it's the later the afterthought. I do it based on my convenience, or sometimes mostly it's at the end if it's not important. But if it's very important, I first plan that out. So it's just a personal choice how you want to do it. So we going to give 1 to 2 minutes before we get into this pink. I'm just going to make some nice bright pink because I need a lot of it. So what happens with watercolors is some colors really dry light. Okay, that's how watercolor behaves, because it gets absorbed in the paper, it becomes a little light. So sometimes you have to go back and you have to add more coats and you feel frustrated. Oh, but I put so much color and it just did not look very bright enough. That happens to a lot of colors. Um, and especially with yellows, okay? Yellows are really tricky. They can become very light very quickly. So sometimes you have to just go ahead and add another layer when everything is dry. This is quite wet. We'll give another minute. And then meanwhile, you can pick your colors for your background. I think I'm going to stick to blue. I have lots of blue here. I can throw in some of this pink as well or brown as well. Something to, make it look little different, little variable. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take this pink and yeah, this is dry. I'm going to go slowly. Some pink on the top. So you can see that the painting looks completely different with the addition of that extra pink. It just brightens up. See, the painting looks very, very different. Now we need to let it dry. We're not going to disturb it. Okay, I think I already lost the small area here. That's okay. I lost a lot of white here. That's fine. For the background, how are we going to achieve? This is a little tricky, I understand, because usually with this kind of backgrounds, I use masking fluid or if to go very slow. But we're going to do the same technique wet on wet, but this time they're going to add a lot of color and we're going to keep our colors ready first. So I'm going to take my blue and make like a nice big puddle here. I need lots of blue because remember, For such a big area to work wet on wet, you need a lot of color, because if there's not enough color and you wait, then the painting is going to start drying. And what happens is you get these very hard streaks, which is not fun to look at. So I'm going to make this nice puddle here. And you can use some of this green. I have a lot of color here. So yeah, I'm going to just use them. Same way. This is actually blue. I don't know why it looks green. Okay, that's fine. Maybe two types of blue. And you can add a little bit of, I have this dark pink here, and green crimson. So I'm just going to use that as well. And the way we're going to do this is, it's the same way. We have to go very slowly around these areas and wet them without disturbing the other layers. That's the tricky part. Now, for a painting like this, like how much do you wet? Should we do the whole thing? Should we do sections? Ideally, I would do in sections. Okay. Maybe you can start something from the bottom and then this bottom. It may still not be quite um, easy flowing, but we'll try our best, because to do everything together can be quite overwhelming. So we'll try in small sections. Okay. So I'm going to try this small area with plain water, and it's going to be very, very easy and gentle. I think I'm going to stop here somewhere on the top. And the difficult part is these small, tiny areas where the paint can get in, but it can also ruin the shape. Okay, so this is your most difficult thing to do here. Go easy, go slow. I'm going to just keep it very easy. I'm going to take some blue. Actually, I did make a mistake right away. I should have done the top part first and not the bottom first, but that's okay. I completely forgot about that part. And I'm going to just let this flow here. Just let it go. Add some pinks if you like. Add some more dark blues if you like. Look, the painting is doing its job. You're just giving it the medium, and that's the water. Okay. Feel free to add some yellows. And you don't have to do the whole thing. You can just stop it here. That's totally fine too. I'm going to get in this area. Add some water. Same thing. I'm going to start dark. When I say dark, I take more paint and then less water, because I want this area to look super dark. Okay, look, you can just create your own style here. Keep going. Okay, feel free to throw some yellow. Okay, so I think this background looks good to me. If you like, you can go up and finish some. I think I'm going to add some yellow. Okay. This way you got this beautiful background that's just like giving the atmosphere, right? Giving that atmosphere of the spring. This is good. We just have one more thing to work, and that is the middle part here. You can see the dark brown spots. We're going to put that. And I do have brown here. It has to be dark. This is going to be a dry brush technique almost. You need something darker, really dark, like almost like something out of the tube. Wait, I don't think I have good dark. That's not a good. Let me take some burnt sienna. Something darker. This is like a maroon actually. Yeah, this is good. I can add with some blue into it. And I'm just going to make some tiny dots here, just a little bit here and there, some larger here. Also give some darks here to give it some base. Okay. I'm going to take some lemon yellow and add some here because it became quite light. And remember I told you watercolors dry lighter, 8 to 10%. So sometimes you need to add this lighter yellows again. When this dries, you can check if you need more purple or pink or anything else, because like I said, sometimes things dry really light and you have to go back and work on it again to make it look the way you want it, your result. Okay, and you can see some streaks here. That's okay, but I can take a wet brush and just blend it in. Since it's already wet, I can like take care of it. Or you can leave it as it is. It's just like everything gives a different feel. You don't have to do the way I do. You can do an orange background. Some things I feel is very personal to artists, especially choice of colors. That's what makes it different than everyone else. So don't forget to sign your paintings at the end. Very important. And yeah, this is ready to be framed.